Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this Delhi Hindu Lance video in the morning. These videos come in the evening, MCQ lessons they come, and you cannot miss any of the lesson. Both are very important, and in the evening session I take many facts and their explanations and the current issues, and here we are discussing these facts, editorials and the issues. 2nd October, a huge day for India. A dire need is there of a sustainable way of life, a sustainable way of politics, a sustainable way of management of ecological balance, a sustainable way of economics, sustainable way of governance. Everything sustainable we need, and when we talk about the sustainable issues and the truth, then the name comes for a leader, that is Mr. Gandhi. And 2nd October, way more important Gandhi is today than ever before, because we got freedom, but how to retain freedom and how to live freely in true sense. Because if people are still slaves of poverty, slaves of bad health, if they are slaves of societal conditions, social layerings, there is a formality in the name of elections and power and money. That thing is way more important than the democratic values, and people do not believe in equality and the democratic values and the constitutional values, and they believe in achieving the power anyhow and just go ahead with that situation where values don't matter but the power and the money that matters. So in this unequal India, in this troubled India, and economic challenges are there, societal challenges are there, religious challenges are there, so many issues are still there. Means it's not like that we are a bankrupt nation and we are a failed nation. It is never like that. But there could have been a very prosperous nation, equal nation, and we could have been like other countries where Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, they are standing, where there we could have been there, and we had those value systems, and our value systems, our learnings were way more important and robust than any other country in this world. And Gandhi gave a practical way to live that ideal phase there. So the kind of imagination of Ram Rajya Gandhi did, the people today in power, the people today in authorities, the people today who are rich, their concept of Ram Rajya is way different than that. Gandhi's way was not a religious one. Gandhi's way was based on democratic values, value based Ram Rajya he wanted there. But we do not see something like that. So we will discuss this issue in much detail, and the articles which have been here, and I have given you questions there. So we will discuss those things later. First we will take the facts. So Pocket News app is trending on Google Play. You can download that. And regarding these courses, the descriptions are given below the video. You can call on these numbers, and the chat section is available here. You can get the PDF on this Facebook group, and you will also get the Telegram channel's link here. So here you can follow me on Instagram. Now these articles, we will talk about it later. A very important issue, and a lot of discussion we will do here. First issue is regarding the impact of climate change that is visible. You see, these creatures, they are dependent on the nature, and their habitations, their ways, their lifestyles, they are totally natural, based on the natural conditions. If there is a drastic change in their habits, in their reproduction, in their habitations, then these are really scary signs. Why? Some butterflies which used to be found at around 2400 meters height in Himalayas, now there is a change and they are moving upward, and they are found at around 3600 kilometers. And a change in the height means the habitation is changed, different conditions they are following. But these are not different conditions, these are actually evidences of the climate change issue. Means the average temperature conditions, average natural conditions which were found at around 2300 meters. These are found at 3600 today. That is something really very important. In the evening session yesterday, in MCQs, I asked you a question regarding the climate vulnerability map that is being developed as a project by DST and the Swiss Development Agency, and they are implementing this project under the mission of NAPCC, where one specific mission is regarding the Himalayan ecosystem, and second is the knowledge systems of ecology and others. These two are relevant to this topic. Himalayan ecosystem is changing. There are clear evidences. Glaciers are melting, and the flow in the rivers, that is changing. And now these habitations are being changed by these moths and butterflies, and they are the extremely vulnerable sections, the part of the biodiversity there. So some of them belong to very protected categories like the Wildlife Protection Act and Schedule 1. Means this blue baron, it is protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and there is a upward habitat shift regarding this butterfly, and butterflies are very, very important. You see in Western Ghat a lot of butterflies are found, and Maharashtra has the state butterfly also. We know about that. Tamil Nadu also, they have these kind of things. So they are way more important than we think about these things. And prelims related details are also given in this article, like the valley of Flagship National Park, the Neora Valley, and other important areas are mentioned, like the Escort Wildlife Sanctuary. This is also mentioned. They are in Uttarakhand, all of them. And some moths and butterflies species, they are also mentioned here. So UPSC may ask you questions regarding that, like the tailless bush blue. UPSC may give you a question that the tailless bush blue, there has been a change in its habitation. Where it is found? Western Ghat, Northeast India, or Himalayas? So Himalayas would be the answer here. And they may give you, instead of areas, they may give you some national park or wildlife sanctuaries there. So this is Escort Wildlife Sanctuary in Uttarakhand. So they may ask you about these things. So that's very important issue. Next, again a issue related to nature, and it is that Antarctic region this time. If you see Earth from South Pole, then Antarctica looks like that. And this way, this side it is South America, then North America, and this is Drake Passage here, and this is Antarctic Peninsula. Here the Ross Sea, Ross Islands, here Weddell Sea, all are present. Here it is Amory Ice Shelf. At this particular place, a large chunk of around 1636 square kilometers, means more than 370 billion tons of ice, the block has been separated from the mainland of Antarctica. But the scientists say that it's more a natural process, because after some time it lay off some of the mass of ice, because it accumulates because of the snowfall which is happening in this region. That's why more and more snow is accumulated there, and that's why it has to make a balance there. So it lays off some of the amount there. So that's why it got broke off, but it was a large chunk. And one more important reason is there, that is climate change. We have been observing the Arctic North Pole there, the Arctic Ocean there. Within 30-40 years, a change of 12% has been observed, means 12% ice is melted away. So these signs are really scary and concerning. And one more important issue, additional issue, is the clean water, means the safe drinking water, or you may say that the water that we use. And regarding that, there is a clear crisis in this world. Most of the rivers, they are polluted, lakes are polluted, and oceans water, we cannot drink that, and heavy and very expensive technologies are needed to purify that water. And here the biggest amount is there in these glaciers, and the largest amount is there in Antarctica. Now this large ice block which broke off from this Amri ice shelf. That was having that clean water. Although we were not using that, but ultimately we are losing safe water there. And that was a huge block, means 1636 square kilometers and 253 meters thick block. You just suppose how much clean water would have been there inside that, and that is all going into the salty water of ocean. So we are losing a lot. So UPSC may ask you some prelims details, like the name is given as D28 and that broke away from Amri ice shelf. So the geography of Antarctic region you must remember. So this is the western part of it, and because it is the center of the pole, mean the areas and their locations, they are tricky. So we will look at the map here, the same map, and this Antarctic peninsula is stretching towards the southern America, and this is the Drake Passage here. Ushuaia is the southernmost city, but now other city, the Porto Williams or the Port Williams, I explained this issue in month of June. This Port Williams has become the southernmost city there, and this is present there in Chile country. So it is the southernmost city in the southern hemisphere and closest to Antarctica there. Weddell Sea is present here, and because it is 90-degree west, means it is the area towards Americas, and 60-degree west means it is going towards southern America. This is the area towards Pacific Ocean. This is 0 degree going towards Europe and UK, because 0 degree runs through Greenwich area, and 60-degree, this is the area towards India. This is the area towards India. So Prince Elizabeth Land is below India, means what is the area at this place? This is the Indian Ocean. So that's really important. So you must remember all of these things, and the Trans-Antarctic mountain range is there, and Ross ice shelf is very, very important to remember. Ross Sea is also very important here, and the highest peaks and all you must remember. The Vinson Massif is 4897 meters high. So these are important. Next, humans pollute more than volcanoes. This is the study. You see, volcanoes annually they release carbon dioxide and other gases which may be very, very harmful for humans. Their amount is roughly 0.3 to 0.4 billion gigatons. And how much we release annually? It is around 36.7 gigatons, just 100 times more. And that's really, really a scary number, because volcanoes are supposed to be the biggest natural contributor to these gases. And sometimes you must have heard about the volcanic winter phenomena. Volcanic winter means a lot of gases and fumes, they are released sometimes from these volcanoes, and they cover the whole skies, and for many, many days, or maybe for many, many weeks, and the sunlight does not reach up to the ground. So the heat does not reach up to the ground, and because of that dark atmosphere there, because the light is not reaching there and skies are covered, there starts a unique kind of a winter situation, and that is caused by the volcanoes and its fumes. So you can have an idea that how much gases are released, but we are releasing 37 gigatons, 100 times more annually. So that's really scary. And Deep Carbon Observatory was established in 2009, and 500 strong international teams of scientists, they released a series of paper outlining how carbon is stored. So that's really important. Next, China is celebrating 70th anniversary of the formation of PRC, People's Republic of China. 1949 was the year when Mao Zedong established this republican state. Now we all know the Chinese pattern is unique, socialist and communist pattern they are following, and they say that by 2021 we will be out of the poverty situation everywhere in our country, and by 2049 we will be the most advanced socialist nation in this world. So that's a very important idealistic goal, and China can certainly do that, but many challenges remain. The ethnic challenges are there, the the controls which the governments they try to execute on some parts of the populations. The Uyghurs in the western region, that is also a challenge. And the one China policy, that is the biggest problem China is facing. One China policy. And in a very, very stern voice, showing a lot of might, the President Xi Jinping says that we will crush all the obstacles and the powers in pursuance of the one China policy. So it's a clear threat for Hong Kong protesters, and that is not very good. And they have shown 40% of weapons, so it was a great showcase. And for the first time, these are indigenous weapons that they are showcasing. And 80 minutes long military parade was observed there. So this is all, and in a typical way, like every leader in this world is doing, Xi Jinping is mentioning Mao Zedong's contribution, but he did not mention the contributions of later leaders. Even he did not mention the Deng Xiaoping's contribution there, because he was a crucial person and the architect of China's reforms that began in 1978. Our reforms began in 1991, and Chinese started it way before that, and that is why China is way ahead than us, and it is reaping the benefits of all those steps. China did it intentionally, we did it under a lot of conditions and foundations, and we were forced to open our economy. So that was something as a huge difference between India and China. And here this is going to be a very important event, and when China pursues a socialist policy, so that can be a very idealistic thing, but the way Chinese administration works, that is also questionable. So we have to see how they manage the Hong Kong protest situation, because it is after a phase of many decades that they are about to handle these kind of protests in a very severe way. Like in 1989, they crushed a lot of student protests there, and they killed many students there. So this is going to be a problematic situation again for Chinese, because that was 1989 and this is 2019, and these protests are not stopping by this time. Next, again a celebration of 100th year of birth. To whom? Mr. Mikhail Kalashnikov. We know AK-47 rifle and AK-56 rifle, and recently as a current affair it came that in Uttar Pradesh this production will start for these specific rifles, and these are the most accepted ones and the most famous one till date in this world. Whether these are guerrilla warfares or these are conventional warfares, AK-47 and AK-56, these are the rifles which are heavily used. And Mikhail Kalashnikov was the designer of that rifle there. So he was given all important awards of Russia. He was hailed hero of Russia, and he died very late in 2013 in the age of 94. So he was a very celebrated person there. So that's really important. Next, a important article on the Howdy Modi's event, where two important assumptions are appearing by the experts. Here the writers are saying that there are two ways diasporas are present in countries, and for India this is a very unique issue, because India is the most diverse nation, and it's a kind of a unique world, a different kind of entity, where all kinds of races are present, all kinds of colors are present, all kinds of languages are present, and the people are following many faiths there, and those diasporas are making unique populations outside India. So the issue of soft power is very unique phenomena in diplomacy and international relations. We use this to raise the standards of our relationships, and cultural relationships are supported here, and people to people connection, they are bolstered, and in a way, when we want better relations with some country, then this is something that we try at first. Sometimes the soft power works more than any other important pressure, and this is a positive one also. So that is why it's a very unique thing, and the diaspora's contribution is the most important contribution in the soft power issue. Okay, so if these kind of events, which are actually unprecedented in the past, we have not seen this kind of celebratory events there, where some slogans were there regarding the next year's elections. Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar was something very, very controversial, and already in America, the issue of meddling into elections that is going on, the Mueller's report and all, everything is going on. So in this sensitive phase, where this kind of event was there, and some allegations are there that it is something as a partial support for Republicans. We have had relations with Democrats and Republicans both, and as Mr. Obama was a Democrat leader, and he was not an admirer of Mr. Trump, and he is still not the admirer. Some changes we have seen in Obama's views also. So these things are extremely important, and the writer said that these two things are there. First explanation says, diaspora mobilization in a manner not intimidating to others is a multi-ethnic foreign country is one thing, and that is really good, and that is soft power. But the loud and boisterous desi rallies that brazenly seek to bend American politicians in a particular way is another, and this one is menacing, because in international relations you cannot be openly so partial. Here we are supporting Trump and the party in a very open manner, and that can be devastating if the Republican Party does not come in power. And it doesn't matter it comes into power or not, but we have shown a kind of a inclination there, according to some allegations. So that is why this can be problematic, according to some writers there. They said that this will have repercussions there, because these kind of things are not normal, these kind of things are not simple, and this can be said as a intervention, or you may say pursuing of the populations there for a particular leader, and that is not good. And the slogan that ab ki baar Trump Sarkar, that was something can become very problematic in the future. So that's why this issue is important, and this is unprecedented, because in the past we have not seen this kind of sloganeering and this kind of event where some things were very, very apparent. In the international relations, things are not that much open. We decide about topics, we decide about issues, but that is all part of diplomacy and our relation maintenance. But here something as an event, and next year the elections are due. Trump has said a lot about the outsiders, means the people who came from outside and they established in America, and some remarks on their color, some remarks on their races he already has made. So already he has become very controversial in the diasporas. Here, this is the reason that it is becoming so sensitive an issue. Next, the worst may be over. It is about the economy. You see, this is the festival season that is starting, and vehicle registrations have witnessed a strong comeback in September, and this is because of the additional discounts too. So these companies are compromising there, but some revival we have seen, and it's a kind of a boost in this September month, that vehicle registrations and the automobile sector, they are observing here. So these things are good, and this can be a sign that the worst is over, and we may turn around from here. But there are other suspicions too, means this phase can be momentary, because after Diwali the sales go down very heavily. So this can be a temporary phase too, and other sectors are struggling a lot. Like we discussed yesterday, that the core sector growth is in minus 0.5%. So other evidences are also there that the economic slowdown is about to continue for some time, and there is no big sign of recovery there. And the GDP growth rate, according to Economic Intelligence Unit, that's very important body, this will remain 5.2% this fiscal. And if it is so, then really concerning number these are, because we were about to grow according to our expectation more than 8%. So that is far away from here, and Economic Intelligence Unit says that it is 5.2%. That is really a scary number, and the government is demanding additional money from RBI. They are asking for it. So these signs are not good. And another information which came today, that is the GST collection. GST collections are 19 months low in September, and that is at 91,916 crore rupees. In July it was 1,02,000 crore rupees, and that was a good mark. But below lakh crore rupees is something that is not sufficient, and we need more and more. Here the problem of receipts is already there, and although we are having good numbers regarding current account deficit, as we discussed yesterday, and some receipts from the software industry, they are good, but if these taxes are gonna be diminished and the economic slowdown is gonna persist there, then the collection from the GST is certainly gonna be hampered, and that will be certainly a problem for the government, because it's a clear difference of 10,000 crore rupees from July, and this is really not a good number, and the decline is actually more concerning. So that is the issue. So these two articles combinedly, they tell about a situation that economy is struggling, still it is struggling, and maybe it will struggle more in upcoming times, but some recovery is happening in some sectors like the automobile sector, and this is already a flamboyant sector for economy, but it was struggling a lot. But now in this festival season, it may see a big rise there. So that is a good news for us, and we have to carry these progresses in other sectors too, and especially in the agricultural sector we have to focus a lot in upcoming months. That is something which is important. Next, Rita died. Who is Rita? Rita is the oldest, was the oldest chimpanzee who died yesterday, and her age was 59. She was there in the National Zoological Park in 1964. She was brought here from Amsterdam, and you must remember that chimpanzees are the closest to humans in genetic terms, so that's why it's very really important issue. And the lifespan for chimpanzees is around 40 to 50 years, but she lived till 59 years of age, and that was something really good. Now we would come to the articles here. You see 5 articles are there, and the issue you must know about that GS paper 4 is one of the papers where you can score a lot. And regarding Gandhi, there are direct topics. It is a relevant learning, and it will be beneficial for you in life also. It will be beneficial for you in UPSC preparation also. It will be beneficial for you in UPSC mains, essay, GS paper 1, everywhere. And because in the social issues, Gandhi's role was very, very important. In the ethics topics, Gandhi is extremely relevant, and as a motivational figure, Gandhi is important. Gandhi, Ambedkar, Bose, these kind of leaders are asked many times, like Vivekanand and other important leaders. They are heavily asked in UPSC, and every year you have questions regarding their learnings and guidances. So first of all, Gandhi, why Gandhi is important? Today's environment where frustrations are rising and religious fanaticism is rising, bizarre things we are observing, and misguided youth is certainly there. Education levels are insufficient. Literacy can be there, but the real education is not there, because it is not in our behaviors, it is not in our lifestyle ways. Many times we see propagandas against Gandhi and many things as justifications we observe regarding Gandhi. But you see, one thing you must always remember: Gandhi as an ideal figure may not be appropriate for many people, but Gandhi as an essential icon is extremely relevant for all of us. Gandhi is mandatory, because who is Gandhi? First of all, Gandhi never claimed that he was a hero, and he actually talked on real terms. He revealed all the truths of his life, even the most secretive things he explained to everyone. He wrote about these things. Gandhi said that I will not give any message, my life should be a message. So in terms of practicality, Gandhi was a very relevant figure. and his views were important regarding religion, society, governance, and the freedom issues and everything. So those are emanating from his basic learning of the life. He accepted that he was a kind of a disappointing person in the starting, and he was afraid of many situations too. He was not a brave person in the starting years, but he learned a lot, and he felt all the pains. He felt apartheid too, and his views on Dalits and his views on some suppressed communities in India, those got developed when he was kicked out of the train in South Africa. So his experiences were unique, his experiences were very practical, and he learned a lot from that. So he is a kind of an icon who was not a great figure, but he made himself great with all the practicality. You see, he could have enjoyed the life, he had a mass following. So in terms of power, you may say, he was wielding a lot. And normally what happens in this world, somebody who has a mass following, who is a great leader and who can influence crores of people, that person starts exploiting that particular influence, and he enjoys that. But Gandhi became more and more grounded with his age, and he became more and more truthful with his age. He talked about all these problems, and one thing was very unique, that the victory on the world is not necessary, but the victory on yourself is very necessary. And that is really the most important learning from Gandhi's life. Means when he said that my life should be a message, what that mean? That meant that if you cannot control your urges, if you cannot sacrifice, if you cannot give pain to yourself, then there is no meaning that you are winning the world, because in actual terms you cannot win the world till the time you do not win yourself. And you do not win yourself, you cannot make sacrifices, and you are still a wannabe, and you do not have control on yourself, and still you are controlling populations, and in their eyes you are kind of a leader, then you are a fraud, ultimate level of fraud. You have to practice things on yourself first, then you apply these things on others. So that is why this is the most important learning. And more we read about Gandhi, more we learn about Gandhi, then he becomes more and more practical. Maybe he did not fight in physical terms, but the mental struggle was really important. And you see, the mental fights are always won by brave people. The phenomenon of Satyagraha was crucial. Why? Because in that thing you kill your ego, you kill your luxury in or you may say the want of the luxury, and you make sacrifices. You kill your ego, but you do not kill your self-respect. You maintain your self-respect, but you do not focus on your egoistic side of the personality. So this is something which is very finely balanced by Gandhi in his writing, and he talked about these issues. So as they say, everybody cannot understand these two psychological terms, and to understand Gandhi, it needs a lot of patience, it needs a lot of practicality, and it needs a lot of understanding levels. You need to be mature. With a fanatic mind, with an immature mind, you cannot understand Gandhi, and Gandhi will always look a kind of a weak person to you, who did not take weapons in his hands, and he tried to mobilize masses with his own ways. So that person may look coward to you if you are immature person, but if you have the experience of the life, if you have understood these terms that winning yourself is way more important, then you understand Gandhi. Otherwise Gandhi would be a different figure to you. So I would say Gandhi is not an ideal figure, he is an essential figure in terms of practicality. We need patience, and we all know world wars have been there, but nobody could win any situation, and people lost their lives. Why? Because war is not an option, and that is why the compassion and the empathy and the peace is way more important. And Gandhi practiced these things consistently in practical terms. He knew if we would wield weapons and we would try to hit Britishers, then they are way more advanced in that thing. They will bring their Royal Navies and Royal Air Forces, and they will attack us with bombs, and we won't be able to do anything because we do not have any economic or strategic progress till now. Military progress we did not have any. We were ruled by Britishers, so those things would have damaged India a lot, and we would have lost many people. But we created influence. It took time, but the people who were practicing satyagraha, those people were stronger, and who actually lived the Gandhian ideology, those people became very strong, and they felt that thing. And when you practice that ideology, then you know how strengthful you need to become, because making sacrifices is way more important. As I told you, Gandhi could have lived a very luxurious life. He was a barrister, and he had a huge mass following. He could have become the prime minister there. He could have become the president there, and any kind of model we would have followed, then Gandhi would have been on the most important position. But Gandhi was most grounded at that phase where his popularity was at its peak, and even he said that I would not care if we do not get freedom, but that would be a happier phase for me, where villages are autonomous, people are educated, there is social equality, and we are not divided in terms of religion and caste and everything. So the ideal Ram Rajya concept was given by Mr. Gandhi, and today the kind of advertisement of some Ram Rajya concept we see that debates in media and all. So those things are very different. Those are fanatic terms, those are purely religious terms, and these are not even religious. These are some kind of extreme enthusiasm that we see, where logics are very weak, and we run that propaganda in the name of Ram Rajya there. So that is something which is really problematic, and we are becoming hollow day by day as a nation, because the youth is not that much strong. We are not practicing sacrifice, we are not practicing the controlled way of life, and that we must learn from Gandhi. He wore those khadi clothes. He could have worn very fancy clothes, coat pant and suits like any other person at that time. People were enjoying lives who were at those positions, but he did not do any. He remained grounded, and he followed a village lifestyle there and a sustainable lifestyle there, living in ashrams near the rivers and all. And he was writing, reading, and he was concerned about the common person there. So these things need a lot of sacrifice. You know that you are losing the years of your life, and you have not enjoyed much, but he devoted his life to a particular aim. So that choice that he made, that was extremely important. You made a choice, and you are not living for yourself. You have accepted this thing, and you have solemnized this thing, that there must be a goal, and that goal must serve the society, and that would be a really important goal. Otherwise there is no meaning. Okay, so goal should be like that you are not living life for yourself. You are peaceful, you are satisfied with your goal, but the goal is serving a purpose there. So that was something Gandhi pursued there, and how much successful he was in his ways, that is well known to the world. And when we talk about truth and peace and the ways, a sustainable way of life, then only one leader is there, that is Gandhi, who was followed by the greatest leaders of all times. And instead of being a simple person, he is known to this world, and for eternal times he will be known, and other people, they will not be known. Means the kind of foolish propagandas and the foolish, you may say, the kind of preachers are there in the society today, who are talking about some kind of dangers to some religions, who are trying to write a different story, and they are running propagandas against some leaders, and they are dividing people in the names of icons and ideologies. people are making parallels between some leaders, and they are saying that this was not good, he was really good, but this was hidden and all. So it doesn't matter. This is all bullshit. It doesn't matter. But in personal terms, one person was of that kind or of that kind, because this is the ideals, this is the learnings that will be important for the future generations. It will not be important that what was there in somebody's mind. That is not important, because nobody can tell about this thing. But today's these preachers, these idea givers, okay, and these kind of professors, some we see on Facebook, on social media, and these so-called vicharaks and all, they are trying to tell a different story. They are trying to diminish the role of Gandhi, and the world knows about it. People are very practical. They know about these ways. There are excellent psychologists in this world who know what is more difficult. Taking a weapon in your hand is difficult, or making some sacrifices in your life, that is more difficult. Many philosophers, they read more and more about Gandhi, and they talk more positively about Gandhi, and that's why Gandhi was a prominent figure. And the way we know Gandhi, we should learn from that. We should not go into some kind of distorted history which is told by many leaders. So I've given you many questions here, the 3 questions here, so you should write about them. And these views on religion, media, society, these all are given, and these all can fetch you many important points for the mains answer writing, for the essay, and for social issues. Okay, so this is all today. We will meet again tomorrow, and in the evening lesson we will discuss MCQs. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sen.